be our first video, or day one of our Intro to Jiu Jitsu series. The purpose of these videos is going to be a series of videos that will give those that are super new, they're brand spanking new to Jiu Jitsu, kind of like a base of information. Okay, so with a lot of new students, you know, teaching over the past 10 plus years, 12, 11, 12, whatever, I've had the one common question: what can somebody do, or what can I do on the off days or at home to study? What videos online can we study? So with that question coming up more often than not, and instead of directing people to other YouTube pages and other sites, I decided that we're just going to go ahead and film our own. Okay, so that way I could just direct you guys to our stuff and the way we do things and our naming convention and whatnot. So today is going to be on the mount. Okay, everything from the mount as far as escapes. Okay, so I have Gabriel here. He's going to be helping me out with it. We're going to start with just a few concepts and things of what not to do when you're in a mounted position. So there's going to be a lot of talking, but it's a lot of very important information when you're mounted. So with day one, okay, day one of Jiu Jitsu, what to expect from Jiu Jitsu when you first start. Be patient. Okay, it's just like anything you learn, new you learn. It's going to be very foreign. The most basic of basic things will seem like the most advanced to you. But over time, as you go through the processes with each and every passing day in class, it becomes more familiar. So it's just like learning a language. You just have to use it. Okay? Any word in any new language is going to be foreign, and it's going to be new, and it's going to seem advanced. No matter how basic it is, like someone learning English or Spanish, you know, the most basic of words to us will be completely advanced, new, and foreign to somebody else. But the way somebody learns and gets better at learning that language is by just constantly using it, learning it, and failing at it. Okay? So, and the same thing goes for Jiu Jitsu. Okay? Another thing to expect too is that you will be defending the big majority of your time in Jiu Jitsu when you first start. Okay, it's not going to be till a little later that you'll start learning the attacks, but primarily it's actually a good thing that you guys really emphasize the defense and escapes first versus the attacks. I know there's some schools that will want to push attacking first, but attacking will only take you so far because it'll only be so effective against so many people. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get into our mount escapes. Okay. So a few things, the concepts that we're going to use when it comes to mounting mount escapes is a theory or concept that we use on both escapes, defenses, and attacks. Okay, but this theory comes into play when it's in regards to our partner and moving our partner. Okay, so we have the tabletop theory and a clock theory. Okay, so the tabletop theory, get on all fours. So let's go sideways. So tabletop, Gabriel's here on all fours, okay? The tabletop theory is more so addressing the legs at the table, okay? So his two arms are two legs at the table, his legs are the other two legs at the table, okay? Now, in order for me to effectively move Gabriel and get to a dominant position, whether I'm escaping or attacking, I need to take away one of the legs of the table, okay? So if Gabriel were to pick up his right arm, okay, he still effectively has a good, strong, stable tabletop, okay? He doesn't move, okay? So it's gonna take an outside force to take Gabriel to the leg that's not there, which is his right arm, to move him, okay? Because if he had his hand down, okay, and I tried to push him to his right, he's stable. I'm pushing into that post that's his right hand, okay? I push, he supports that forward momentum to his right hand, okay? Thus the floor, the ground supports it. But if you were to pick that hand up and I push towards that corner, then he falls, okay? So that's the basic general premise of just the tabletop theory, okay? I have to take away one of the legs of the table, and I have to take his body and his weight to that leg of the table that I've got trapped, okay? Now, the other theory that you're gonna hear a lot is gonna be the clock theory, okay? So let's say this big circle here on the mat is a clock, okay? So Gabriel's gonna go on all fours, okay? Here, let's go to head towards the camera. Okay, so Gabriel's head is pointed at 12. There's 3, 6, 9, and back at 12. So his right arm protects or bases out in this first quadrant between 12 to 3, okay, respectively. It could go a little further past either point, but realistically, his right arm is covering this quadrant from 12 to 3. His right leg covers the quadrant from 3 to 12, or 6, and then his left leg goes from 6 to 9. His left arm goes from 9 to 12, okay? So with that said, again, you're gonna hear, or see that concept or that idea being applied when we're working our escapes or sweeps or passes or whatnot. So another thing, another basic concept to keep in mind when it comes to mount escapes, okay? So let's go on your back. Yeah, right here. Okay. Arms, always keep them in, okay? The biggest mistake anybody makes is extending them, okay? For two reasons. One, you extend the arm, it makes it vulnerable to attack and it opens up space. Two, it weakens the structure of your arms, okay? So, meaning, the further my hands come away from my body, the weaker my arms are. Okay, the further my hands come apart from each other, even weaker, because it gives my opponent an opportunity to isolate that limb. And it's already as extended out and weak as it can possibly be. Okay, we want to keep our limbs strong, not weak. Okay, so when you're in a mounted position, you guard yourself by keeping your arms in at all times. Okay, one to protect yourself from getting choked, whether it's a sporting situation, or two, keeps your head from getting punched if it's in a self-defense situation. So basically, this video and the videos following, these are all going to be raw, uncut, unedited. We're just going to go. Okay, I'm just going to teach. You're going to learn. Okay, that I'm not so much concerned about how the video looks. I'm more concerned about the content and that you guys get and understand the content. Okay. So there's a few basic solo movements that we do when we're escaping the mount, okay? The basic hip escape, okay? This movement is the one movement you're gonna use pretty much to one degree or another a majority of the time when you're on the bottom, okay? Whether you're escaping or attacking, you're gonna be doing some sort of a hip escape, again, to one degree or another, okay? So this is a great solo drill. You guys can do it at home by yourselves. You don't need a partner for it, okay? So it is part of our bridging series. So what Gabriel's gonna do, he has his arms in, protecting his neck, okay? The first bit, he's gonna bridge his hips up in the air slightly, okay? The bigger the bridge, the better. And you'll see why when it comes to the escapes, okay? He's gonna pick a shoulder, okay? He's gonna turn to his left, okay? And then from here, he's gonna use the friction of his feet on the floor to shoot his butt out in the opposite direction that he's facing. Okay? So when he does that, go back. When he does that hip escape movement, okay, he only has 2 points of contact. Okay? His feet and his shoulder. Okay? You need to keep that your hips off the ground so it's easier for you to move and slide. Okay? So he's gonna bring his hips up. He's gonna turn. Okay, right now he's on his left shoulder and only contact is his shoulder and the feet, and then he's gonna shoot his hips out in the opposite direction. Okay, so his feet stay stuck where they're at, and his left shoulder is gonna be the pivot point. His feet and his shoulders don't move, but the hips do, which is why this is called a hip escape, or which is why we call it a hip escape. Okay, and he comes back, and he does the other side. So he's gonna bridge, turn, and hip out. Good. Okay? Now, next is gonna be a bridge and reach. Okay? Now, the bridge and reach is, again, we're gonna be using this in part of our escapes, okay? So just like we did with the hip escape, he's gonna bridge his hips up, he's gonna look to one shoulder, and he's gonna reach over that shoulder. Okay, then he's gonna come back, and then he's gonna do the same thing on the other side. Good. Okay? Next, okay, we're gonna do a thread the needle. Okay? So he's gonna bridge, he's gonna reach. Now the side that he's reaching to, so his right is reaching to his left, okay? So he's gonna take his left foot and thread it underneath his right leg and go to his knees. Back. And then he's going to do the same thing. He's going to bridge, reach, and he's going to throw his right knee under and go to his knees. Okay? So, one thing I want to point out to when you do any like these bridge and reach movements, or even the hip escape movement, okay, is the positioning of your head. Okay? A lot of people will do it unknowingly, but a lot of people don't do it too as well, okay? So when, come here. Now, what I tend to see a lot of people do when they bridge, okay, you see how he's bridging on his head here, right? Okay, go back. So, what I want you to do, okay, I want you to bring your ear to your left shoulder and then bridge. Good. Because what that does is keeping the head in line with your center line, it takes away the bridge, okay? Because you end up posting and bridging on your head versus the shoulder. Okay, so if you were to keep his head in line with his shoulder, or the center line, he bridges. See, there's contact right now. He's stretched out. His hip got right here, okay? This is as high as his hip is going. Go back. Now, go ahead and bring your ear to your shoulder. Now it just pushed my hand back up, okay? He got a little more oomph in that bridge just by bringing the ear to the shoulder, okay? And that little extra bit could mean the success and failure of any of your escapes, okay? Thanks. So, so those things, you want to keep those in mind when you're working your escapes, okay? Now, there are two positions that we have to deal with or will be forced to deal with when, excuse me, when we're mounted, okay? Lay down again, please. So it's going to be one of two positions. Okay, we're going to be here low on the hips, or ideally high on the torso. Okay. Now, I don't want to find myself sitting on his hips. Okay. Because what that does, it brings my center of gravity close to his. Okay, his strongest part of his body. And this, again, is my center of gravity, just as that's his. And this controls the direction of my weight as well. Okay, so even if my hands are on the floor, okay, and he bridges, my body goes with him and it dramatically shifts my weight forward. And you find a very drastic unbalancing of my weight when I shift forward like that. Okay, so ideally, I want to be a little higher up on his chest with my knees up in his armpit. This is going to be ideal for me, but not ideal for him, okay? Ideally, he wants me by his hips, okay? But we're going to address two different scenarios and a few different scenarios and escapes when our partner is up high on our chest or low down on our hips, okay? So, when we're mounted, okay, we'll deal with our opponent up high, okay? So he's high, his elbows are here. I can't get my arms inside, okay? So this is when we're gonna use like a bridge and roll escape, okay? So, here, sit up real quick. No, up, no, stay there. Just posture up. Yeah. No, like hands up. Yeah. Okay, so I don't, again, like I mentioned earlier, I don't want to have my arms up high. He'll catch me with the arm bar, okay? Or like I said, it weakens my structure, makes me more vulnerable to attacks, so I need to defend myself by, again, keeping my hands close to me, okay? Ideally, I would like to have my elbows inside, but he's got a really high mount, and it's really hard to get my arms in, especially when you're going against someone that's significantly bigger than you. It's going to be hard to move them down, okay? It's going to be a lot more work. So you almost want to just go ahead and take what your partner gives to you or your opponent. But again, keeping your hands inside, okay? Now, I have to anticipate, okay, whether it's a sport situation or a self-defense situation, I have to get this arm, okay? And there's several ways we could approach that. So when I'm here and I gotta get his hands to the floor, okay, and I can't get my elbows in, okay, I could bridge hard and force him to get his hands to the floor, okay? I could reach in, grab, and pull his elbow inside, okay? So now, one mistake I know I see a lot of people make is not that it's wrong. You can effectively go for the arm this way, but it's just not as effective. Okay, what I see a lot of people do, they try to overhook the arm here. It's too easy for them to pull that arm out. Then we end up doing this pummeling thing. It's unending pummeling. of the arm, and it's just a waste of time and energy, okay? Which is why when I bridge, when I trap the arm, I'm coming under and I grab with both hands. I want to pull his arm to the middle of my chest, okay? Now from here, my right hand goes to the wrist, my left hand goes to the back of the tricep here, okay? Reason being, I need to keep his forearm on my chest, his elbow down my center line, but I also have to keep his elbow from pulling back, okay? So it's this grip and this grip that's gonna help me get it. Now, this is gonna be important too. I'm not gonna hold on the wrist, okay? Because he could straighten his arm out, pull straight back, pull your arm out, pull, and I could lose it easier. So what I need to do, I want to hold the forearm at the crook of the elbow here and pull it in, okay? This provides the same control of the forearm, whether I grab here or here, but it also helps me keep and maintain that bend in the elbow, okay? Again, this hand goes behind the tricep, okay? My left, now going back to that tabletop theory, so I trap this leg of the table, now I have to trap this leg, okay, of the table. Because if I try to bridge and roll without controlling this leg or trapping this leg, he could easily post it out and prevent the escape, okay? So I'm gonna take my left foot, I'm gonna post it over his ankle, okay? And just like we did before, I'm gonna, like we demonstrated earlier, I'm gonna bring my right ear to my shoulder, okay? I'm gonna bridge and then come up, okay? So what that does, again, instead, by tilting my head, instead of forcing it all the way over and like carrying and pulling or pushing and relying on so much strength of my legs to get the bridge and roll, I'm cutting a bit of an angle, so when I bridge, it's my opponent's weight that carries me and finishes the escape for me. Not so much me bridging and trying to step over with it, okay? So I'm taking away that post, okay, my head here. I tilt it here and I turn this way. So instead of taking my partner over here, it's taking my partner closer to my center line, okay? If you were to draw an imaginary line on the floor, when I bridge and roll, I'm trying to take him as close to that center line as possible, okay? So, again, I'm protecting myself here, okay? I bridge, I get his hands on the floor, I reach, I pull his arm inside. My right hand stays at the elbow, my left hand goes to the tricep, and my left foot traps his foot, okay? I bring my right ear slightly towards my right shoulder, okay? And then I bridge. And then I turn. Okay? And it's gonna be the same mechanisms in a self-defense situation if we're trying to defend or counter or not get punched, okay? So in a self-defense situation, okay, my hands are defending in the sports situation, I'm defending the choke, but if he's punching, my hands can stay up to cover, okay? And then I can still bridge and get his hands down, okay? Or when he goes for the punch, tilt, okay? He goes to the other side, tilt, okay? What happens is, when he throws that punch, my hips turning throws off his balance, and there's a dramatic weight shift in his body when he's throwing that punch. Because when he brings his arm back, the overcommitment of his weight coming towards me, okay, helps me with this shift to get his arms to the floor, okay? And again, I'm still protecting my head, okay? So I'm here, boom, 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 okay? I could sit here and just do this, but it's not doing anything to offset his weight, okay? So again, when he's throwing that punch, boom, catch the arm. Trap the elbow, bring it to my center line, left hand, grabs the back of the tricep, I trap the foot, tilt my ear, bridge. Okay? Now, another variation of the bridge and roll escape, I got this from a teammate of mine from New York. I call it the Jiu escape because he's the one that showed it to me. At the time, he's a black belt now, but at the time he was a brown belt, and this has been such a money controlling position. Okay, so when we get this arm trapped here, okay, we have the arm trapped here, okay. Now, from here, I want to really over exaggerate this pull, okay. My left hand is going to grab the back of his neck and pull it to my head, okay. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm using his head to protect myself from getting punched, okay. So again, come back up. So I'm here, okay? His posture's still up, okay? It might be hard to pull his head down, but if I bridge, grab the head and pull it down towards me. If he has a gi, grab the gi, hold it tight, okay? Now, what this does, it takes away this post, his left hand, okay? So when I trap here, I bridge, and I roll and I get the escape. Because what happens is, the higher your posture is, okay? Again, going back to that clock theory, my left hand covers this quadrant from 9 to 12, okay? But it could feasibly reach over into the quadrant between 12 to 3, okay? So when I'm here and I'm postured up, I'm over in the first quadrant. Okay? But the lower my posture is, it only goes so far. Now my left hand can barely get to 12. Okay? Which is why, like, whether in both a self-defense situation, even in sport, that's going to be a very solid and dominant grip to get, just so you take away that potential of the counter that your escape. Okay? So that's going to be like a general series of bridge and roll escapes that you can do from a high mount. Okay, so our next video series is going to be a little more technique in there, not so much talking, because this was just our first day, our intro into our mount escapes. So like I said, all these videos are going to be raw, uncut, unedited. It's just going to be chock full of information for you guys. I don't want to go into too much more, okay, because there's so much information out there, so many variations that we can utilize in regards to our mount escapes. So our next series we're going to be working on is going to be when our opponent or partner is sitting lower in the mount, and he's giving us more options and opportunities to escape. There's going to be a lot more options, a lot more information in that series. So we're going to be spending a majority of the time on that. So like I said, these videos are going to be like 15, 20 minutes each. Some will be more, some will be less. But generally speaking, they're all going to be around that time frame. So again, just, the solo drills, you do those at home. Take this information, drill it with the partners at home if you have one, or use your kid, use your significant other, or even if you have a dummy, you can sit the dummy on top of you in a full mount and still drill these movements. So other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys like it. If you have any questions or feedback or whatnot, please let me know, message us, email, whatever.